few remarks.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. It was a really difficult day yesterday. I actually think Dan Shaughnessy said it really well. It indeed was perhaps the saddest day in 123-year history of the Boston Red Sox organization. We are here today, obviously, to conduct the affairs of the year-end press conference, but I do at the outset want to acknowledge and extend our deep condolences on behalf of John Henry and Tom Werner, Mike Gordon, everyone in the Boston Red Sox ownership group, our entire front office, to Stacy, to Bree, to Trevor, to the whole Wakefield family, to Wake's teammates, David, Dustin, Tito, Mike Timlin, could go on and on, Nomar. I know how much he meant to all you guys, so I want to extend my condolences to you. His front office teammates, we love Wake for everything he stood for. To everyone at Nesson that he worked with, TC, I'm so sorry for your loss. To everyone at the Red Sox Foundation, Becca Saulwasser, Wake was your partner in crime, and I'm really sorry for your loss. Everyone at the Jimmy Fund, and of course to Red Sox fans. Losing an icon like Tim Wakefield is an incredibly difficult thing, and we feel your pain, and we're really, really sorry for your loss. I do at the outset have to thank two members of the Red Sox organization for everything that they've done in our 22 years here, but especially for what they did yesterday, and that's Pam Ken and Sarah McKenna, who have been with the family ever since these diagnoses have been realized, and I just want to thank them for being there yesterday. We'll never ever forget that, and thank you for being with the family. The last thing I'll say before opening up to questions is, I thought, as we all did, every single person in this room, everyone in the clubhouse yesterday, we thought about Wake all day, all night. And I remember the first time I was privileged to spend a significant amount of time with him, and it was on a team charter in 2002 when we went from Atlanta out to San Diego. And it was June of 2002. And he asked me all about the Father's Day catch on the field. And he wanted to know what went into it, why we did it, how it happened, because no one was ever allowed on the field at Fenway Park. And it just struck me, boy, is this just a regular guy? But we all know he was anything but regular. He's a Hall of Famer. That genuine curiosity about the ballpark, the baseball team, the business of baseball, the community work, what went into running this operation was there literally right until the end. And as I think back in our time here and the history of the Red Sox, I'm not sure there's a player that has been more active or involved with every area of the operation. Player, front office member, broadcaster, community leader, and the last thing I'll say is, Jason Veritek, you said it perfectly yesterday on behalf of everybody. So thank you, Tech, for expressing to everyone what Wake meant to all of us. So thank you for that. And with that, we'll open it up for any questions.
Sam, do you have any information regarding memorial for Wake or any of those sort of things?
Thanks, Pete. We don't have any information right now. Hope to be getting that soon. We'll follow the lead of the family, and certainly we'll want to make sure that everyone has a chance to celebrate what was an incredible life appropriately.
Tim, I guess just to get to baseball stuff, where are you in the kind of the search for a new leader of baseball operations?
Sure. Sure. The search for the next leadership within baseball operations has begun. I want to make sure everyone understands that this is going to be a much different process than the last time we had a change in leadership. And what I mean by that is we plan to take our time. We plan to be very deliberate. We're going to have internal candidates. We're going to have external candidates. We're going to have a consistent, robust process that hopefully leads us to the right person or people. We've started. We've been underway since announcing the change, and we don't have any set deadline or time frame. We're going to go through this process this off season, and we'll have an announcement when it's appropriate.
Even though you say no date, just with the GM meetings, would you like to have a GM for that at least, just to?
Yeah, you'd love to have clarity as soon as possible, but we're not going to let any deadline or timeline put constraints on the process, and that is in large part due to the fact that we've got great leadership with Brian O'Halloran, Raquel Ferreira, Mike Grootman, Eddie Romero, a team of people that are as committed and dedicated to this organization as any baseball front office.
Alex, just your thoughts about Lee.
I think I wrote something yesterday on Twitter, right? Great person, great husband, great dad, great player. Let's not forget about that. Great teammate. He was huge in the community. We always talk about Hall of Fame people, throughout the years, right? They're good on the team, on the field, but they're better off the field. And, this guy, he represented us with dignity. He was we did it yesterday because of him. I usually don't wear the jersey. It's not that I don't like it. I just feel more comfortable wearing, other stuff. And I don't know who noticed it yesterday. I had my jersey on since like 9 a.m. Just because that's who he was, man. This guy, I met him. Well, my first game was in Baltimore when I got traded, and he was there, and his presence and just very genuine too. He was there all the time, and we were joking earlier about 2007. We took him off the roster, right? And he was there with us, the whole way. And just a guy that, he cared about his craft. Obviously, he had to be a perfectionist because, to be able to survive at this level throwing one pitch, it's not easy to do. So you have to be on point. But he made sure everything in the clubhouse was on point too. Very, very hard on young players, but in a good way. Kind of like teach them the right way to be a big leaguer, to be a Red Sox. And like I said, man, I saw him the 14th, and with everything that he was going on, he was asking questions about us, man. And I put myself in his shoes. If I was in his situation, no, I have no idea. I'd probably be home, and not, be worried about others. And that's who he was. And I told the guys yesterday, it was a good baseball game. We pitched well, played good defense, but we talk about it before the game. Let's do it the right way. Wear your jerseys, go out there, and it was a very good baseball game. One of the, I don't want to say one of the best, of the season. We have probably better games than that, but it felt good inside, just to represent him the right way. And he was great from the get-go, and we're gonna miss him. The family, obviously, we're here for them, stays and the kids. The same way he was there for us throughout, we will be there for them. And I know it's hard, but like Sam said, at one point we have to celebrate his life, right? And let's start thinking about all the positives that he brought to this organization, to this city, to us, because that's who he was.
Do you have any thoughts about what you'd like the team to do to celebrate him, next season?
It would be great to have a way to celebrate Wake where we can have all the fans who loved him as much as we did participate and be a part of it. So I say this with humility, but I think our organization takes that as serious as any other organization, and there's just nobody better than Sarah McKenna and her team in putting on special events. And I think that we'll hopefully be able to do something where everybody gets to feel a part of it.
It's also going to be the 20th anniversary of the 2014. Is Kurt Schilling going to be welcome back for any of those festivities?
I appreciate the question, but not something I've given 1 minute of thought to. Just been focused on Wake and the family.
Sam, can you talk about the status of the coaching staff, given the baseball calendar, and you saying that this is going to be a deliberate search? It could be some time before you have a new baseball ops president or leader in place. What have the coaches been told? Is it possible that decisions about any of their futures will be determined before a person is brought in? Do they have permission to look around? What's going on there?
Yeah, so those conversations will be ongoing in the days ahead with BOH and Eddie and group and Rock leading those conversations. Primarily staffing decisions will be handled by BOH and Eddie and Alex, and talking about next year. So early days on that front, but those conversations will happen in the days ahead.
And what can you say about what you want in a new lead baseball executive? Is it important that that person has been the #1 decision maker elsewhere? How important is familiarity with this organization, experience? What qualities do you see?
Yeah, we're looking for someone who shares the organizational values that I think we've come to be known for in our time here. And at the end of the day, that's understanding that the standards here are incredibly high, and winning games at the major league level, putting yourself in a position to be busy in October is the goal. That said, we think that you can also build a sustainable organization at the minor league level at the same time. It's hard, it's difficult. Sometimes those two things are in conflict with each other, but we think that the right leadership will emerge, and that's not taking anything away from people that have been here, and the organization, as I said a couple weeks ago, is actually in a really good spot as it relates to the future. So, look, we don't have a predetermined set of qualifications necessarily that we're looking for, but we do have a targeted list of individuals that we think will be able to help get us back where we belong in the American League East.
Have you reached out to seek permission on any candidates yet?
We have, yes. Yep. And we have not conducted any formal interviews yet. I think that was a question from Alex over there. No formal interviews have been conducted, but we've had conversations internally and we've had conversations externally, being respectful of clubs and Major League Baseball rules and teams that are still playing. We have to make sure we navigate all that over the next several weeks.
When you talk about a targeted list, is there a number of people on that list?
I don't want to get into numbers or specifics related to that. It wouldn't be appropriate right now. But I just say we're looking at a lot of different options at the current time.
When do you expect interviews to start?
Probably later this week, maybe early next week.
How much would you like to have Alex kind of have a seat at the table, sort of giving input on who the next leader of baseball operations is?
It's hugely important to have your existing leadership on board. This is a team effort, right? So whether it's Alex, whether it's Raquel, BOH, Eddie, the whole staff, ownership, it's a team effort. I think we tend to focus on individuals in our sport, as we should, but it's a team effort. So there'll be lots of different voices, but at the end of the day, this is a decision that I'll make along with ownership, ultimately having the final approval.
You mentioned this process being different and more extensive instead of just the way that it was last time with one person you were targeting. Why do you feel that you think, you don't have one person in mind and that you need to be kind of more looking outside the box?
Well, I think we have a lot of areas where we need to improve. And I think it's important that we conduct a robust search to hear different views, different opinions, different perspectives on areas that the Red Sox organization has excelled in and areas where we've fallen short, so we can improve on those areas.
So where do you feel like you guys have fallen short over the last 4 years? And sort of what is your outlook and your vision, to sort of correct that in years to come?
There's been a lot of incredible strides made across the organization in terms of our systems, our processes, our minor leagues. Everyone knows the ranking of our system. I think where we've fallen short is not getting to where we need to be at the end of the year. We should be playing right now, and that's the goal each and every year. We think it's possible to build and win. We also recognize that this division isn't getting any easier. It's incredibly competitive, and we've got a lot of work in front of us.
Would you all be willing to go over sort of the luxury tax? I know you spent a lot of times, sort of, trying to get under it. And to get better, how do you foresee that?
Look, we've said it before. We've had years where we've been over the CBT threshold. We've had years where we've been under. The resources have been there, spending across baseball operations. Where we've fallen short sometimes is in the allocation of those resources, and that's on us to fix. But ownership of the Red Sox have been there since 2002 in our time, giving us the resources that we need to be competitive, and I do not anticipate that changing.
Sam, just more specifically, I guess, do you anticipate payroll going up this coming off season relative to where it was this past year?
I'm also going to be consistent that we definitely aren't going to talk about our plans for Major League payroll. I don't know why other clubs do that, but we do not want to tip our hand to our competitors and talk about Major League payroll. It's just not something that we've done. Obviously, at the end of the day, we all know what the payroll was for the prior year, but we've had an amazing amount of flexibility going all the way back to 2002, where we've had best laid plans in the beginning of the year, and those have changed sometimes mid-season. So we have a lot of flexibility around here.
Yeah, Kenley Jansen has been very vocal, about the areas of the roster that need to be fixed. There's several players that have come out. Alex Verdugo said yesterday, he wishes you guys had gotten a starting pitcher and, reliever at the trade deadline. What areas do you think of the roster need most fixing?
Well, look, I appreciate and understand that those are comments made from people who have a lot of hunger and a lot of passion and a lot of pride in what they do. And when you fall short of playing baseball in October, it's natural to look back and sort of, second guess or question what we did or didn't do. I can tell you that we're looking forward. The whole organization is looking forward. And, I think there's lots of areas for improvement. Obviously, this game is about pitching at the end of the day, and so we need to improve in that area. That certainly does come to mind. That's a fair criticism to point out, but we'll attack it all in the offseason.
Alex, have you guys discussed at all you moving to the front office, being that baseball boss, possibly doing both? Anything, or are you going to strictly be the manager?
No, we talked about it last week, right? And I was very honest with them. I'm not prepared to do that. I feel like the impact that I can make here in this organization the upcoming years, it'll be in the dugout. That's the way I see it. And they know, and it's not an easy job. Because baseball and you know how to talk baseball, it doesn't mean that you're prepared to run an organization. There's more than that, and I'm very comfortable doing what I'm doing. I trust, the people that we have around right now, BOH, Eddie, Rube, Raquel, Ben, everybody that is working here. I trust them. They know what they're doing. I know they trust me, and now it's just a matter of put everything together. Like I said yesterday, this is not acceptable. The last 2 years, regardless. If we were playing with young kids or veterans, it doesn't matter. We got to find a way to win more games than the last 2 years, and our goal is to play in October and win the World Series. That's our goal. So, I'm comfortable where we at, family-wise. We like where we at, and we have goals and stuff like that. But now, right now, this is it. Yeah.
You have a larger say in what the roster looks like in terms of roster growth.
Like I said yesterday, since 2018, with Dave, Haim, and the group, they always listen to me. We talk about what's needed, and it's a collaboration. It's teamwork, like Sam said. So since 18, I think my baseball knowledge and what I think the roster can be or what we need to do is always, on the table. They listen to it, and then we make decisions as a group.
Roster-wise, do you look at starting pitching as the biggest thing to get you over the hump?
All depends how you see it, right? We made some strides in the last month. Cutter threw the ball well. You saw what happened yesterday with Tanner. Chris, healthy. We always talk about him, 35 stars, 30 stars, whatever it is. He made strides. Towards the end. So I agree with Sam, and I agree with the group. To win championships, you have to pitch. That's the bottom line, and we haven't been able to get to that point yet, right? I think the last time we had a healthy rotation was in 21, and you saw what happened. Before that, and sorry that, I know we talk about not talking about that yesterday, but going to the pitching, the other time we were healthy, it was 18. So that's something that the group knows. Maybe we had to make adjustments as far as the things that we do with them, preparing them, their off-season workouts and all that. But as of now, you see the talent, Obviously, this is something that whoever is going to run the organization is going to decide which route we're going to go. But, yeah, we have to pitch better. That's important. But at the same time, we have to play better defense, right?
Yeah, Alex, with that in mind, 2 years ago, this is after a successful season. In the postseason press conference, someone brought up that the team didn't seem to play that well fundamentally, and you agreed completely. You said we have to get better fundamentally. One could reasonably argue the team really hasn't in 2 years. So to the extent to which you can answer it, how much of that is coaching, and how much of that is the roster the coaches are given to work with?
Yeah, we just had a meeting an hour ago with our coaching staff, and the tone of the conversation was like, we have to, find ways to improve our players. You have to be, willing to adjust what we have tried to do the last few years for them to be better. Is it batting practice, more batting machines, or trying to put our infielders in uncomfortable situations so they can be, better defensively, working the first steps, stuff that we have done the last few years with Rafi and then with Xander, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to do as a staff to be better, to improve, and if we do that, then hopefully we can put these guys in a situation to be successful.
Does the staff need to change for some of those improvements to happen?
I don't believe so. I think we just have to be better in a sense. We have to be willing to go and talk to people and adjust our routines, and that's something that we've been talking about it the whole season. And I know people talk about the coaching stuff and everything, but the people that follow us the whole time, you guys saw it. We did a lot of things that we don't usually do. Didn't work, but it's not lack of trying, it's not lack of effort, it's not lack of knowledge. It just, you got to keep trying to find ways for these guys to be better, and it's on us.
Alex, are there plans in the offseason? I know you have plans like, say, 2019, 2020 before shutdown stuff, to meet with players over the offseason. Are there plans to do that this season? Just meet this offseason?
That's something that we just talk about it. We've been meeting with them, with the players individually, and they know what the offseason is going to look like. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to Fort Myers early, which is great, so we can work, with them at the complex. But, there's traveling to the Dominican, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to do that I think is needed in this offseason. I think we got some guys that they're going to impact the big league roster next year, that they're young players, and we have to guide them through the offseason and help them out. There's specific stuff that we want them to do. I don't have to go, through the individuals or the players, right? But, there's specific stuff that we want them to accomplish this offseason to be ready for next year, and we have to be hands-on with that. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of traveling this year.
You know who some of those players are this year that you'll be traveling to?
I always go to the Dominican to see Rafi. There's certain things that he has to do. We talk about Rafaela, as far as some of the things that we want him to do offensively. Valdi, right? Abreu, pitchers, which is going to be the easy part of it because, like I said, there's going to be a lot of them in Fort Myers about improving your stuff. If we want you to be better throwing up in the zone or use your pitch mix a little better, Like I said, I'm not going to go too specific with which players in specific, but that's what we're going to do.
Alex, for a new leader of baseball ops, what's important to you? What qualities are important to you?
Besides knowing baseball, right? Just like I talked when I got the job in 18, and when we got Chaim here, I think communication is very important. The understanding, I believe, the understanding of this. This is a very unique place. It's a special place, but there's a lot of noise here, and I do believe, and I've been talking about this for the last 3 or 4 years. What do you do with that noise, right? You cannot let it bother you because it will get loud certain times, and I think understanding that. As far as the baseball part of it, baseball is not black and white, man, like people think. It's not like this is the perfect way of playing baseball. Right now, there's all those teams in the playoffs. They have different ways of playing the game, right? I was just reading an article about the Twins, they didn't strike people out 2 years ago, and they thought they were right about it, and now they're striking people out, So the game changes, and it's changing right in front of us, Stolen bases, is part of the game. It's part of it. Defense is very important. Pitching is very important, but then in the playoffs, what you got to do? You got to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So I do believe this game, it always changes. People see it differently. But at the end of the day, when we get together, whatever decisions we make, we go for it, we attack it, as a group, and we just have to, improve on whatever we decide we have to do.
Sam, do you guys plan on pursuing Ohtani this winter?
Again, we're not going to get into specific player moves or anything that could get us in trouble. But I'll tell you, there's an amazing group of men, women, individuals in our baseball operations department that are throwing every idea out there that you could possibly imagine, turning over every rock. That's when the Red Sox have been at their best, is when sort of the no bad ideas zone that we operate in. So we'll consider anything and everything to improve for the short term and for the long term. And I want to make that clear. Like, this is there's a desire to compete. You've heard us say it, and sometimes those words ring hollow when you've had 2 very disappointing seasons. But there's just nothing like winning in Boston, and we need to get that back. We want to get back. I think AC said it the other day. Like, forget the championships of the past. We need to focus on what's in front of us, and we want to get that feeling. So we want that winning feeling, and our fans deserve that. So we're going to have to do what it takes to get there, and that's what we're committed to do.
With that being said, do you look at this as an all-in winter?
No, I don't really even know how to define all in. Maybe it's just because on the inside we feel like we're all in every year in terms of the work and the preparation and the commitment and the dedication. And so I feel like we're all in from that perspective each and every year.
You guys have finished in the last 4 years. It would seem like that's
more than just hiring one or two more people to the staff. But have you guys talked about how much you need to re-examine a lot of the things that you're doing, and it's not just a couple leadership spots?
Yeah, we do. We need to look at every area of the operation. Usually you hope to be playing in October, and so you don't use that window to conduct exercises where you're looking at improvement. But this gives us, if there's any silver lining, we do have time in October to talk about and examine areas where we've fallen short. So yeah, I think it's fair that we need to examine everything because that's what our fans deserve.
Sam, along that line, you and the San Francisco Giants have a fairly similar track record and profile over the last 3 years. Playoffs in 21 and then toward the bottom of the division and out of the postseason the last couple of years. When the Giants made a managerial change over the weekend, Farhan was talking about a need to improve the entertainment aspect and value of a team, that maybe people weren't being entertained in addition to not having enough wins. Talking about maybe too many openers, using platoon advantages, those kind of more modern analytic things. Is there any concern that the product on the field, in addition to not winning enough, is not entertaining enough here?
No. Entertaining baseball is winning baseball. I don't care what anybody says. You can say that, you need to play a different brand of baseball. You need to do this. You need to do that. We got to win. Somehow magically people say, this team's likable or this team's entertaining. I think that's nonsense. Winning baseball is what matters. That's what entertains people. We know that. So how you get there, I think AC said it well. There's different ways. The game is constantly evolving and changing. But winning and playing competitive baseball is entertaining.
Sam, what's your sense of the desirability in the industry of this head of baseball operations role? When you look at whoever's coming in will not be able to hire their own manager. There's a lot of lieutenants in place, and given what the ownership group has done with the last 3 people here, they haven't lasted 4 full seasons. Are you sensing any wariness from candidates in terms of the desirability of this role?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I understand that, and it's a fair question. This is the Boston Red Sox. If you want to run a baseball organization, this is where you want to be. You want to be in Boston. Why? Because it matters here more than anywhere else. So if you're not up for that challenge, thanks, but no thanks.
But whoever's running obviously wants to have a certain amount of influence and backing.
Yeah.
I think the argument could be made, you might not have the same influence you'd have in somewhere else, but you could set up all your own people, and then from a patient standpoint, are you going to get the same amount of growth? There's only so many of these jobs, there's 30 of them, but whoever's taking it obviously wants to be able to put their stamp on it.
Yeah, I think
Whoever comes in here, can they put their stamp on it?
I think they absolutely can, and we'll get into that's important. You have to have the person in position, or people in position of leadership have the ability to make decisions, and so that'll be within their purview to do it. I just know that there's no better spot than Boston in baseball. None.
Sam, following up on that, how would you respond? There's certainly the perception that there's been a lack of stability, over the last, since Theo left. How would you address that with a candidate if they raise that as a concern?
We'd spend a lot of time going through year by year, personnel move by personnel move, whatever it takes, to explain with candor and honesty about every single thing that's happened here since 2002. If candidates want to go back, we'll do that. What I can tell you is we have all the ingredients necessary to be a World Series championship caliber club, and that's something that I think anyone would look forward to being a part of.
How much time have you spent as an ownership, the 3, looking at each other and saying, maybe we're the problem, but what are we doing?
That's fair. That's fair. I won't. We've talked a lot, John and Tom and I and Mike Gordon. Those 3 guys, run all aspects of Fenway Sports Group. My day-to-day job is to run the Red Sox. We talk all the time about areas where we've fallen short, and yeah, there's as I said, there's plenty of blame to go around. So we need to be better as an ownership group as well, and we're committed to doing that.
Sam, along the lines of the question of
stability and what an incoming head of baseball operations would have. Obviously, you committed to Alex for next year. Why did you want to make that determination, make that clear right now? B, like you saw, I'm sure Steve Cohen's talking about, he wanted to have David Stearns, kind of in a position of doing whatever. And B, given that you want a working relationship, presumably that's going to be enduring, would you like to figure out whether or not Alex's interest in being manager beyond his contract when it runs out in 2024?
Sorry, could you get to a specific question or a concise question?
Let's go with, I'll break it down into multiple parts. Why did you decide we should commit to Alex as the, make clear that Alex is going to be manager?
Yeah, obviously Alex is under contract. He's going to be our manager next year, and I think that's a very attractive part of Boston and this organization, coming to this organization.
And two, given that you want to have a working relationship, presumably that's going to be allowed to grow over time, would you want to resolve, would you consider figuring out Alex's future beyond 2024?
Yeah, those will be discussions for the appropriate time, and they'll take place as we go forward as an organization. But this is the priority right now is to get the new baseball operations leadership structure settled and determined, and then we'll tackle other issues beyond that.
Alex was trying to be my agent.
I guess as your agent, have you, in these conversations, have you given further thought to whether or not you would want to manage the Boston Red Sox beyond 2024?
Like Sam said, those conversations, we'll keep it between us, but I still believe I can manage and can impact a big league team more than next year. Let's put it that way.
Yes, Sam, you mentioned earlier to a question not wanting to let other organizations or teams know what your plans are. You also mentioned candor with people that you're interviewing for the job. You're interviewing presumably people who work for other organizations, so how do you balance telling them things that they may use against you going forward?
It's a great question. It's always a risk when you share information with people outside your organization about the inner workings of your own organization. So it's a calculated risk that you need to take in the right situation if you think it's going to ultimately benefit the Boston Red Sox. So it's a balance.
Sam, the organization has spent obviously on position players with Devin's extension, Story, Rashida, but not a nine-figure deal for a pitcher in a very long time. How much do you think about that should be a priority, considering top-of-the-market pitchers command that kind of money?
Look, it's there's different ways to acquire pitching. There's different ways to acquire any positional player, what have you. Like I've said time and time again, we will consider all ways to improve the club. I think we've demonstrated an ability to use certain styles or methods in terms of player acquisition, using prospects, using dollars, signing people internationally. Everything is available to us to improve this club as we go forward.
Alex, beyond pitching, is there an area that you feel like you need external help at?
We'll talk about it. I think, if you start looking at a roster, we do believe some of these young kids are going to impact the roster next year and years to come. They have some good seasons. Overall, it wasn't a great season, but you start talking about individuals and some of the players that were really good. They improved in certain areas. So, like I said, we have to wait and see who's going to run the operation here. I'll give him my thoughts about how can we improve, and then we attack the offseason the way we think is going to be good for us.
You said that after Heim was fired, you said that baseball operations leadership will come in with a mandate to run the department, all aspects of the department. If Alex is in place as the manager, is that all aspects that he's going to be running?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. The person will, or people, individuals, that we determine will have the authority to run the department.
But I mean, is it all aspects if he can't pick his own manager?
Look, I think you're going to have people that understand, that come in and see what we've built here, what we're building here, and the relationships will be built as we go forward. And again, we'll address the long term. We're focused right now, the two of us, on what's in front of us, and then the rest of the organization over the next 8 to 12 weeks. Beyond that is a conversation for another day.
Sam, you've mentioned multiple times, you say the person or people, plural. It seems like there's already a lot of voices in the organization. What level of confidence we have, and what's appealing to you guys about the idea of potentially maybe having multiple people fill this job and then trying to get that organizational alignment?
It's a big job. It's a big operation. It's a massive amount of responsibility. And so we just want to make sure that we have the right structure to be as effective and responsible as we can in terms of building this thing for the long term the right way. So we are interviewing for the number one spot right now, but we may add more people than a number one spot, depending upon, to the earlier question, if there's a desire to bring in other people from the outside, we'd certainly consider that, or internal promotions. We just don't know where this is going to go.
If it is people, plural, do those people have to have a pre-existing relationship in your mind, or could you bring in somebody who has not worked with someone else before?
We've seen examples of both work. Dave Dombrowski came in here and elevated Mike Hazen to the general manager role, which worked pretty well. So we've seen examples where it can work, and we'll consider all options.
Sam, will Mike Grootman be back?
Say it again.
Will Michael Grootman?
Oh, Mike Grootman, yes. He's under contract and busy working on next year with us as we speak.
Will his position change at all?
Too early to tell what may or may not happen, but he's an incredibly valuable member of this organization, and we're grateful for what he does.
In terms of the candidate pool, would you pursue people who are currently the heads of baseball operations in other places?
Yeah, I think you'd be irresponsible not to consider all options.
Hace un poco tocas el tema, pero ¿cuál fue el mensaje a los jugadores entrando a la temporada baja, sobre todo esos jugadores jóvenes que será su primera temporada?
Lo primero que hicimos fue felicitarlos, porque ser Grandes Ligas no le pasa a cualquiera, ¿verdad? Yo creo que es un honor y un privilegio ser parte de una organización de Grandes Ligas. Lo segundo, que esto no es aceptable, que en los últimos 2 años llegar en último lugar en esta ciudad no es aceptable, que la organización no acepta eso, y depende de nosotros mejorar nuestra actuación el año que viene. Y como que ese mal sabor que tuvimos esta temporada, que tuvimos el año pasado, lo utilicemos como de manera positiva, en el sentido de que ataquemos nuestros entrenamientos, nuestras prácticas de bateo, todo lo que tengamos que hacer en la off-season para mejorar, que se sienta esa fuerza que viene de este mal sabor. Así que ese fue el mensaje, y obviamente mantenernos saludables, mantenernos en contacto y estar ready para cuando lleguemos a Fort Myers. You want to
Yeah, I got
Alex, is there, as far as the current group goes, is there any surgeries or procedures that you anticipate coming up that will affect anybody this offseason?
No.
Sam, today the league announced that 17 teams had attendance over 2.5 million, and this is like almost 10% growth for the league over last year. But for you guys, Baseball Reference said only about 50,000 more fans than last year, which was the worst home attendance since 2000 before this current ownership. Are you concerned that going into this off-season, there seems to be not as much interest as there has been? And how do you kind of plan to address that?
Well, first of all, the attendance numbers across the league were incredibly impressive. Great sign for baseball. It's obviously too early to point just to the rule changes as sort of the reason, but my gut instinct tells me that was a big part of it. we actually are incredibly appreciative of the fan support that we had this year. Our attendance was slightly up, which is somewhat remarkable if you consider coming off of a last place finish in 2022. And obviously, we know where we are in 2023. So we're incredibly grateful for the support that we had night in and night out. I think we averaged over 32,500, something in that range. For a team that fell short of our own expectations is something we're incredibly grateful for. But the shorter answer to your question is yes, we're always concerned if we're not performing on the field and what that might do to attendance. We need to have a packed house each and every night. It's a competitive advantage, what it does for the environment and what it does to create resources that can be reinvested back into the team.
And just to follow up on that, do you plan on raising ticket prices?
So we've had a very modest, low single-digit increase on season ticket prices, and then we price the rest of our ticket inventory dynamically. Prices change, based upon market conditions over the course of the year. So we don't have set prices as we enter the year, other than the season ticket packages.
Alex, you've had a lot of moving pieces up the middle this year. How important is it in your mind to stabilize that part of the roster?
I do believe if you the last few weeks when Trevor played almost every day, you saw the changes, right? At second we were basically platooning, Baldi and Pablo. Well, Urias play a lot, but I think with Trevor as shortstop, playing every day, you see the difference. Now we're gonna decide what we're gonna do at second base. I think Trevor at short helps Rafi at third base. We made some subtle adjustments as far as like our defensive alignment too towards the end, and it felt good. Let's put it that way. So I think up the middle we're gonna be solid. Trevor's staying healthy. He's a game changer. He's a lead. I think he ended up at +8, +9. He only played a handful of games, right? So I feel really good about that, and then from there we'll attack the off season, decide what we're going to do at second, and obviously Rafi's going to play third base.
Sam, do you anticipate any changes to the Fenway Park game experience next year, as far as like the game presentation, the start times, stuff like that?
I think it'll keep evolving and growing, but incredible work this year by everyone from Jonathan Galula, I mentioned Sarah, everyone who runs this place. Hopefully it's one of the fan-friendliest venues in all professional sports, and people have a great time and experience all sorts of different theme nights, and we've tried to make the experience really, really great for everyone that comes here. So I just anticipate more attention to detail with respect to customer service and making sure that people are having a good time when they come to Fenway.
Alex, just go back to the middle question. With Emmanuel, what do you think he needs to do defensively at second base, and is there a specific plan for him this month?
Yeah, he's actually playing winter ball for a month. Carlos Febles is one of the special advisors in the team that he's going to play in the Dominican Republic. Carlos is going to be working with him defensively throughout that month, and obviously after that, there's a few guys that are going to work out at the academy, and he's going to be part of that. First step is important. The angles that he takes, it's also something he needs to improve to become a solid defender at second base. I think out conversion towards the end, he was actually good. He did some things when we sent him down in AAA with our AAA staff to improve that, and he was good. Arm strength is something that we noticed that he needs to get better at. He'll be in a throwing program. I don't want to say like a pitcher, but similar to that. We had to go through that with Trevor last year, right? So there's a few things that we have identified with him that if he does it, he can be a good second baseman, because the bat plays. Play discipline, the impact of the baseball, the at-bat that he puts together is impressive. So we'll see what happens. I think getting the reps in the Dominican Republic, playing at second base exclusively, is going to help him out.
Sam, can you, back to a Wakefield question, can you whatever you can share of the conversations you've had. You started by saying this, what Dan said, it's the saddest day in the history of the Red Sox. Could you just share any insight into the conversations you've had about how you honor somebody like that?
Yeah, it's a massive responsibility to think through how you would honor someone like Tim Wakefield. But I think the right answer will come to us as if we keep the premise that we want to be as inclusive as possible and make sure everyone whose life was touched by this guy, and that's millions and millions of people, can be a part of it. But we also want to respect the family and what they're going through. So we'll follow the lead from Stacy and the kids and those who are closest to Tim, people like Jason Veritek and his family and Sarah and Pam. So the right format will come to us as the days go by. No talk about anything specific yet, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Sam, you talked about casting a pretty wide net, obviously, an extensive search here for the new head of baseball option and who will be the head of baseball operations. Do you guys feel like you know, I don't want to say, take names out of it, but you know specifically what you want in terms of qualities, or is this kind of like a Potter Stewart obscenity thing? You'll know when you see it.
No, we have a good feeling about the qualities that we're looking for in terms of experience, but also the type of person. This, as we've covered today, this market is not for everybody. And we recognize that we want a person who wants to, and maybe people, as I said, to be a part of winning in Boston, because there's just nothing like it.
Alex, last year you said that somebody asked who you thought was the player that needs to take the most strides forward this year. So I guess I'm asking the same question for this next year.
The way we talk about it today, I mean, I'm always honest with you guys. Us as a coaching staff. We got to get better. We got to, push these guys to be a lot better. And it's on us to do this in the off season, do that in spring training, and do it throughout the season next year. So that's my challenge this year. Me and the coaching staff, we have to be better.
And then separately, what do you think about Pedro Martinez saying that the culture needs to change, that you need to get back to the kind of culture that he feels there used to be, and the kind of pride of people on the team, being Bostonians and only wanting to be Red Sox players?
That's why Pedro goes to spring training, to help us with that. Him, David, Mikey, all those guys, we make sure they talk to the players, they walk around with the players, they work out with the players to make sure what they did in the past and the way they did it. It's not about the championships, right? I mean, it's not about that. It's about how we go about our business, how important this place is for us, and that's the reason we invite them, for them to talk about that and help us out with our culture.
Alex, what's your best case plan for Rafaela next year?
For Rafaela, get stronger. There's a few things offensively that everybody saw this month that he needs to work on. Play discipline is one of them. There's a few things mechanically that we do believe he needs to do to get to the fastball and to hit the ball to right center. He had a good season. It's not easy to come here to the big leagues and dominate, right? But you saw the skill set. This kid is going to impact the defense. He's very good at what he does, and offensively, we believe that he's going to be capable to impact the lineup too.
You want to use him next year, like Kansas City?
It's too early for that right now. We'll see what happens. There's a few things that he's going to do, in the upcoming months to be better. He'll go to spring training, and he'll play a lot in spring training. We know that, so we'll see what happens.
Obviously, Rafi got to his offensive numbers, but just what did you see what happened with him defensively?
There's a few things that we noticed, especially to the left. There's some studies that we made the last few weeks to kind of understand what happens to that ground ball to the left that is actually 3 or 4 feet from where he's at. And there's some habits that he has and bad ones, going to his left. To his right, he's really good. Moving forward, he's been okay, but I think it's to his left. And we're going to work on a few things, and he's willing to do it. Yesterday, I had a good conversation with him, talking about what he wants to do. He sees all these young Latino kids that are coming up too. He wants to be the guy to lead them, and he's going to work hand in hand with them in the Dominican Republic, and hopefully we can get him to be the infielder that we envisioned, the infielder we saw in April, right? April and May, he was really good. So that, and obviously the mental side of it, kind of like, hey, when you play, you're gonna make errors, but then you got to turn the page and make the next play, and that's what we're gonna work with him this offseason.
We have time for one more. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice work.